There we go. We're good. We'll go right back to it. It's all good. Shit happens.
Check.
Oh, we're live.
Check. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. I am your host, Sam Randazzo, and I am joined by my two kind of hungry co-hosts. To my right, it is the one and only. Why are you shaking your head? You're not hungry right now?
No.
Not at all?
Good evening.
It's Uncle Sam. And to my left, it's none other than our very own Mr. Zolo, Mike Palazzolo.
Blessed.
And for some reason, we're in a stupid fucking Santa hat before Thanksgiving. Polishing his own candy cane. It's Bruce, the tugboat Venditti.
What's up?
Welcome back. It is the end of week 11. We have a Monday night matchup tonight that we're definitely going to have to discuss with some detail.
Hello, Tank.
Is Tank reporting already?
Yep.
Hello, Tank. Welcome. We have a Monday night matchup tonight that we need to discuss in detail. We have a Victory Monday celebration from Zolo, and we have 5 things as always. We have a shitload of injuries to talk about. It's going to be a full show today. But first, how was your weekend? Mitch, how was your weekend?
Great.
Any highlights?
I watch a lot of football.
Picks?
I watch a lot of football every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays now.
What'd you watch on Saturday?
Of course, I've watched the USC UCLA game.
That's a classic. I've been to that game.
Watched the Michigan game, and was not impressed.
Whatever. They weren't good the first game before Ohio State the last 2 years, and then went on to win.
I just wasn't impressed with what they were doing. I'm not impressed with their backup coach, whatever you want.
Sharon Moore.
Yeah, I'm not.
Let's talk about that this week. Not
a
today,
fan
but
of his.
Let's talk about it this
Not a
week for
fan.
sure. I'm excited.
Wednesday.
I owe a huge apology right now, excuse me, to Danny DeVito. He is not the
We'll talk about it. We'll talk.
quarterback I've ever seen.
We'll talk about that.
He is no longer the worst
hurt you.
quarterback.
He's no longer the worst quarterback I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
he needed to shut you up this week.
He shut me up.
Wednesday, we are going to do a little Michigan-Ohio State preview, so stay tuned for that. Zolo, how was your weekend?
Weekend was good. I also watched a lot of college football. I watched. I wasn't impressed with your boy Michael Penix, but I still love him. I'm still going to ride or die.
Michael Penix coming out of this draft right now, and I will say that he's the most complete guy that I've seen so far this year. In my opinion.
You haven't seen Drake May yet, then?
I have seen Drake May, but I feel Penix he has a size. He can make every throw in the book. That sets him apart from these other guys.
Well, maybe Wednesday we should just do a full college show and give.
No, I'm just saying, from what I've seen so far.
Listen, here's what I think. Are we doing this Friday? Which I'm down. I have
we can
Friday
do it right
off.
now if you want.
Yeah, no, we'll record Friday.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking.
But Friday, I think we need to go before the game starts. There's a Friday
it's
3
not at
p.m.
noon,
game.
is it? Yeah.
It's a 3 p.m. game.
Perfect. So I think Wednesday we preview the 3 Thursday games
And the Friday game.
and the Friday game, and we'll do the Black Friday game, which there's really not much to talk about. What's his face? Is Tim Boyle's back?
Yeah.
And then we'll do. I think I'm gonna go see De La Salle on Saturday if you're interested. Saturday night.
Oh, yeah, we have a state championship run.
Yep,
State championship on
Catholics versus
Saturday.
convicts, Muskegon versus De La Salle.
Again, for like the 5th time in the last 10
So
years.
we'll talk about the college
What is
slate
the
on
Catholic
Friday.
versus convict?
De La Salle versus Muskegon
What does that
for
mean?
the state championship. They've played like 5 times for the state championship in the last 10 years or some shit since I've graduated.
Yeah, but who's the Catholics and who's the convicts?
Well, De La Salle's a Catholic school,
Okay.
so that one's pretty easy to figure out.
So you're saying every kid from Muskegon is a convict?
Yeah, every one of them's in jail. They get released just for the games.
Oh, interesting.
Anyways, did anybody make any meat this weekend? I did not get around to making meats this weekend.
I don't think I did.
No meat? Nothing?
Ground beef. That's about it.
What did you cook with ground beef?
I just cooked some ground beef in a pan and I ate it.
Did you please tell me you did something to the ground beef?
Yeah, put some salt, some garlic,
A little salt and pepper on it.
pepper. Yeah.
It's not that
on a
bad. It's
pan
bad,
of
but
it's
not that
ground beef.
Ground beef. You
Hey,
put it on a
Did you
bun.
strain it?
Oh.
Did you strain it and pat it dry?
No.
So you
kept
just
the fat.
You just
All
ate
right.
some shitty, greasy ground beef out of a pan.
And some rice.
Anyways,
You ate hamburger with rice? Ugh. Are you serious?
Protein, baby.
You must have been extremely high
Protein.
trying to make that.
No.
No.
shout out to Leon. He went to Wong's Fu Wah yesterday.
Best place in town, bud.
Wow.
It's not Wan Fu, by the way. It's Wong's.
Wong's? Like
Wong's?
Wongs.
Hold on, I got it in
Wong's
my phone.
Fu
Hold on.
Wah.
Hold on. I got it in my phone. Hold on.
Is it actually Wong's Fu Wah?
Hold on.
What is a Fu Wah? No, it's Wong's.
It's
You're right.
Wong's.
Wongs.
It's
I'm looking at it. Wong's Fu Wah. Do we know what Fu Wah means in fucking Chinese?
I have no idea.
Hold on. I'm checking this out.
It's like La Fuente, where my dad's favorite Mexican restaurant.
Uh,
I want to try some of your wife's food.
Wah
Yeah.
means
Yeah, what's the best thing she does? Mexican.
She can make everything, dude.
What's the best though? What's the best
What
Mexican?
do I like?
Ziti.
That she makes the best?
Yeah.
Oh, I love her chili rellenos. That's my favorite.
What about does she make a good burrito?
Burrito's not even a real Mexican
I
dish,
know it's a
by the way.
California thing,
So, I mean,
but does she?
huh?
Does she?
Could she? Yeah.
Well, she probably
absolutely.
does like enchiladas. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I love
She makes good tortas, good
Torta sounds good.
tostadas. Oh yeah.
Tostada sounds good.
should we talk about football? Or
Yeah.
Yes.
We keep talking about Wong's Fu Wah.
Yeah.
All right, let's start off with the news. So everybody's kind of been patiently awaiting the return of Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson. Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, said today that he's questionable for next Monday's game against the Bears. He acknowledged the fact that they have to be smart with his return and work him in to the offense again. The Vikings have their bye the week after they play the Bears. And essentially that could add a free week into his 21-day window to return. So with all of those things being said, I don't think Justin Jefferson's coming back for the bye week. I don't see it happening, personally. Why would you if you're them?
They're still in the hunt.
They're still in it.
They're not out of it.
But is that game against the Bears worth rushing Justin Jefferson
I think
out
he'll be back.
I think every game is worth. I don't know about rushing. I think they'll wait for him to
No,
be 100%.
don't wait for him to be healthy. I don't think they're going to risk his health to come back.
Yeah.
A game early.
Yeah. So I don't think it's going to go by. Is it worth the extra?
He knows
rest?
his
If
own
he's ready,
body.
he's going to.
These guys know their own bodies.
And
They
he's just
they
not
know
ready.
if they'll be ready.
The Texans have signed veteran cornerback Desmond King to their practice squad.
Shout out to Detroit.
Again.
Desmond King went to Detroit. King.
He did.
I thought he was drafted by the Texans.
No, I think he was drafted to the Chargers and then went to the Texans.
I thought he was drafted by the Texans and went to the Chargers.
Maybe he did.
Okay.
Could be right on that.
Desmond King. I thought the Chargers drafted him.
I wasn't sure. I don't know. It's been a while. I can't remember.
So, obviously, one of the biggest pieces of news of the day today starts and ends with Amu Bob. Amu Bob came out and said today that the Jets will have 3 active quarterbacks on Friday versus Miami for the Black Friday game. The starter will be none other than former Detroit Lion Tim Boyle.
TB12.
12, baby.
The backup will be none other than Trevor Seaman. And the number 3 on the depth chart will be former starter Zach Wilson, after Wilson was pulled out of last night's game against the Bills and replaced by Tim Boyle.
Personally,
It's been Danny DeVito. You said on this camera last week, Danny DeVito was the worst quarterback you have ever seen play in the NFL.
And I even made the comment that Zach Wilson was better than him.
And
I was wrong.
Danny DeVito in 2 starts has more touchdowns than Zach Wilson's had in 10?
No.
It's awful.
But I don't think what they have is better than Zach Wilson. I don't think giving the keys to Tim Boyle on my ass is better than what Zach Wilson's doing. I just think that they've been right about Nathaniel Hackett all along. I don't think
that's
Zach
what
Wilson's
I'm starting
the problem.
to think too.
I don't think it's got anything to do with Zach Wilson, to be honest. A little bit to do with Zach Wilson.
Wilson's not good.
He's not
but
good.
Nathaniel Hackett makes him look worse than he actually is.
So,
Yes.
so
He's
are
still
we,
the best quarterback
are
on
we
their
all
roster.
saying that Sean
Payton might have been right.
Payton might have been right?
Sean Payton very well might have been.
There's a whole slew of issues, but their offensive line is garbage and can't protect. I believe if Aaron Rodgers were there, he'd get murdered again behind this offensive line. I don't even think he could buck that. I think their scheme is off. I think they don't know what they're doing with their run game, mainly because their offensive line sucks. And I think a lot of that does go back to Nathaniel Hackett. I'm no expert. I'm no X's and O's expert with offenses, but I think a lot of that does go back to Nathaniel Hackett.
Hackett's relied on Aaron Rodgers all those years to make plays for him, maybe.
100%. And I mean,
That sound accurate or
well, here's the other thing. Their starting left tackle. I got Becton.
Yeah,
Becton. I don't know how to say his
his
name.
first round pick.
He got carted off. Got an MRI today. It's going to be a high ankle sprain. It's
gonna
nothing
miss some time.
disastrous, but he's going to miss a couple weeks. So there's another blow to that Jets offensive line.
I have a question for you, too, and
Yes.
it comes off of a report that The Athletic did. Do either of you think Amu Bob survives all this? Maybe not necessarily this year or next year, whatever, but do you think that Amu Bob is going to be a long-term coach of the New York Jets, or what do you think?
I think he's safe for this year. I think he makes it through this year.
I got a feeling because he wasn't really the original pick, I believe, of the GM and what went transpired over here.
Yes.
I got a feeling he will be the fall guy. He's going to be the fall guy.
So The Athletic, Zach Rosenblatt from The Athletic, who actually, I don't know if he covered, he does cover the Jets. He did a deep dive over the last 10 years on regimes, coaches, and GMs that either drafted or inherited a bust quarterback, a bust first-round quarterback. And not a single head coach, if he took 17 quarterbacks that were bust, Johnny Manziel was on the list, Christian Ponder, Jake Locker, Brady Quinn, Jamarcus Russell. There's a whole list of quarterbacks, and if your regime drafted one of those quarterbacks, even if you inherited one of those quarterbacks, so in this case it would be Zach Wilson, it may have taken longer, but the regime doesn't get a second chance. Even though it's not their fault that they didn't draft Zach Wilson, they're not going to get a second crack at this. So long term, even if it's over a 3-year period, a 5-year period, eventually the study says that this regime is going to be on its way out because they couldn't figure out the quarterback position.
So I think he's safe this year and he's safe for this offseason because realistically, from day one.
Wait, this is Woody Johnson now. I've seen Woody Johnson fire guys for no reason.
For way less.
But they got fucked from day one. Literally day one. They were fucked from day one. Right? Yes. Could they have went and got another quarterback at the deadline? Yeah. Could they be working out other guys that are better than Tim Boyle right now? Probably. Did they miss on a lot of those opportunities? Yes. But this season was supposed to be a Super Bowl run with Aaron Rodgers, give him the keys to the kingdom and see if it make it work, right? Rodgers signed up to work for this administration. At the end of the day, I think you have to, if you're Woody Johnson, you have to at least give them the shot to put this whole thing together with Rodgers.
Woody Johnson, Mahmoud Bob is going to be the fall guy no matter what. Okay? He's going to be the fucking fall guy.
Which is a shame.
Let me explain to you why.
Hold on real quick. I think you, of all people, will agree with me on this. I think Bob Saleh is one of the best coaches in football.
Mahmoud Bob.
I think he's easily one of the better coaches in football.
Right.
And I would be disappointed if that happens. Go ahead. I'm sorry I sidetracked you.
You know what? Listen, this is what's going to happen. I truly believe Aaron Rodgers is coming back and will get another shot.
Aaron Rodgers,
whether
is
it's
not
this year or not.
Yeah.
Which I after seeing the way they played
if
past
they lose
2
to
weeks,
if they lose to Miami on Friday, is it this Friday? It is this Friday.
It's Friday.
If they lose to Miami on Friday, I don't think we see Rodgers this year. Because then they're 4-6, right?
Okay, so
4-7.
I think if Rodgers is ready, I think no matter what, because he's been rushing for a reason, I think no matter what, he's going to take a crack at this if he ends up being ready. I personally don't know what the hell he'd be doing trying to do that, because I don't think this Jets team, I know you said Super Bowl run, I think with Aaron Rodgers, maybe they'd be competing for the division.
I agree.
I just think that it's just a broad quarterback isn't the only problem with this team. And they collapsed a lot yesterday. They collapsed on the 80-yard touchdown. There was miscommunications with what's his face, with Sauce Gardner and the rest of the defense. And you had Quinn Williams screaming at people.
Defense questioning each other.
Yeah, and that's happening.
Yeah.
I think there's bigger issues.
There's a lot of frustration going
Well,
on.
I think this is what's happening. Basically, Zach Wilson, I believe that ownership and fucking the upper echelon are pushing for Zach Wilson to play because they've had so much vested in him. And I think Mahmoud Bob doesn't want any part of that.
I think there's,
and I don't think he wants to. He's not going to admit it because then you're pointing the finger at ownership and whatever. But I'm telling you right now, I don't think he would allow this to go on if he had the opportunity to actually make the call. I think he's like, you guys want this? I'm going to put it there for you. And when it fails, it's on you. And I'm talking about Woody Johnson, and I'm talking about whoever knows Zach Wilson's family and whoever the fuck they are. That's what I'm talking about. Because that's what it looks like to me. And I don't even know. I think Aaron Rodgers has done everything humanly possible to prepare Zach Wilson for this, as far as X's and O's, what to do, what to look for, and the kids still don't get it. Guess what? He's going to be passing out peanuts and fucking hot dogs next year.
Amen. John Harbaugh came out today and talked about tight end Mark Andrews. He said that there's a chance that he could return this season from his ankle injury. The injury was not as bad as initially feared, and they will know more as his rehab continues.
Fake news. Fake news. Does it sound familiar? Fake news.
Okay. Dolphins running back Devin A-Chain, who re-injured the same knee Sunday that landed him on IR for 4 games. The team is still looking into the injury. Mike McDaniel said today that it wasn't as serious as before.
Do you even buy any of the bullshit you're hearing right now?
What do you mean?
With these injury reports? How could these people come out and say, well, he injured this, he's out for the rest of the year. He's on IR. IR used to be fucking for the year.
IR is 4 games.
It used to be for the year. Now it's 4 games.
Well,
I think it's all bullshit.
This is what Mike McDaniel said. There's a chance that he will and a chance that he won't. I definitely would not rule him out, but I definitely would not rule him in either.
Whatever the fuck that means. How about that?
I'll bet it's wait and see mode.
Yeah.
It's day to day. It makes sense. They're gonna wait to see if the swelling goes down. Selfish point. I'm trying to not talk too much today, but selfish standpoint. I traded you for Aaron Jones last week. In 2 leagues yesterday, I had A-Chain and Aaron Jones starting at running back. In 2 leagues, I'm fighting for my life in both of those leagues tonight because I lost both of those running backs in 2 leagues. I need Mahomes to go off for 40 in 1 league, which I think is totally possible. And in the other league, I need to beat Cousin Steven with 8 points from Zach Cunningham, or I'm fucked. 2 leagues that I had surefire wins in, too. But I lost both of those running backs in the first quarter.
Week 1 of this year, I lost David Montgomery and Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones just keeps...
For about 4.5 to 5 weeks. Actually, 6.
Aaron Jones said yesterday after the game, after being carted off, that he, quote-unquote, caught a break. He did not practice today due to a knee injury, but it doesn't look like it was anything tore. So it's gonna. I think it'll be a couple weeks.
And low key, the Packers hold a lot of cards in their hands. They're not out of it. I don't think they're good. I don't think they're going to get back into it, but they're not out of it for that 7 seed. So he'd be a welcome addition for them if they could get him back.
If he can get healthy.
At least Calvin Ridley came alive.
Sure did.
Fuck.
He puts up a 5 the last month and a half.
This asshole, the week I trade him, he puts up fucking 2 touchdowns and 100 yards.
So the karma,
go fuck yourself.
The karma is in that other league where I started A-Chain and Jones and they died. I was down. I had A-Chain in the flex. and I was down to A-Chain and Ridley because everyone said that Ridley anytime was a sure thing yesterday. I wouldn't have it locked down, but I'd be down 10 or 15 points with Mahomes going tonight. So
that's a lock.
That's the karma. I got him in our league, and I started him, but I didn't start him in the other league, which, of course, I don't blame you. I mean, Ridley hasn't done shit all year. Sorry, go ahead.
Kyle Shanahan confirmed today that standout safety, I don't know how to say his first name, Talanoa Hufanga did in fact tear his ACL in Sunday's win over Tampa Bay, and he will miss the remainder of the season.
He'll be back before the end of the season.
Yeah, okay. Former Ravens quarterback and former Super Bowl MVP Joe Flacco has
I
signed.
thought we were talking about Trent Dilfer. Go ahead.
Has signed with the Cleveland Browns, and he's on the practice squad. It is expected that Flacco gets promoted to the active roster before their game this week. He will definitely add some depth for them, but
Ironic, isn't it?
what is?
Joe Flacco in Cleveland?
Well, they came out today and said that as of right now, Dorian Thompson-Robinson will be the starter this weekend. So
Right.
this may have just been we might not actually see him.
We'll get there, but was that bad of a showing against Steelers D? He got the win, and he
wasn't awful.
It wasn't awful.
It wasn't awful.
There's nowhere to go but up.
It wasn't pretty, but it wasn't awful. Seahawks scumbag Pete Carroll told reporters that Kenneth Walker suffered an oblique strain that was quote-unquote legit, whatever that means.
The fuck does that? I seen him when he got hurt. He grabbed his side. He grabbed his side before he hit the ground on a run.
So
I seen it because he was like, you could see it. His hand actually grabbed his side when he was twisting going through the line.
He is currently doubtful for the Thanksgiving night game against the 49ers and could be in danger of missing 3 to 4 weeks, but they do not deem him as an IR candidate at this time. So I don't know how you could be in danger of missing 3 to 4 weeks and they're not thinking about putting you on
Well,
IR.
if they consider IR 4 weeks now, I would say that's IR, no? I mean, is that what they're saying? IR used to be the year.
Maybe it's 2. Who knows?
Or at least 6 games. IR used to be 6 games.
The Falcons have made it official for the 3rd time in the past month. Desmond Ridder will be the starting quarterback going forward over Taylor Heineke. So Ridder was the starter,
This guy
and
could
then they
lose-
came out and said
this guy-
Heineke was the
This guy
starter.
keeps losing games, he's going to lose his job.
Arthur Smith.
Yeah.
I don't think he just can make up his mind on who he actually wants to send out there every week.
I don't give a fuck. He's so indecisive. You either go with a guy or fucking bring somebody else in then.
Time to draft a
You're not
quarterback.
happy with the 2 guys you got. If you don't think the 2 guys you got can do the fucking job, you need to get somebody else in there.
I don't think Desmond Ridder with an extra week's rest is gonna change any games for any Falcons fans anytime soon.
Oh, wow. Ron Rivera said today, after the Commanders lost to the
this
Giants,
motherfucker needs to lose his job.
who were led by undrafted rookie Tommy DeVito, was quote-unquote a low point in his career.
If you're openly
I guess
saying
losing that
stuff,
Super Bowl wasn't.
if you're openly saying stuff
Losing
like that,
that Super Bowl to the Denver Broncos wasn't.
if you're openly
That
saying
might have
stuff
been
like
worse.
that, maybe you're well, what's worse, going to the Super Bowl and losing or getting fired? Maybe they told him, they're like, your ass is grass. You're
I mean,
dead
how
man
does-
walking."
I think they've already told him he's out.
How's
wouldn't
he
be
still
shocked.
employed?
Yeah.
I can't figure out for the life of me
I don't
how
know.
he's still employed.
We've talked about it. Josh Harris is a good owner. He knows what he's doing, but he paid $6 billion for that team. So, or $5 billion, whatever it was.
Yeah, and
I
how
don't
much
think
is
he's
he
going to
paying
sit.
Rivera?
I don't think it's not going to be much in a few weeks. It's going to be minimal.
Mike Vrabel came out today and had comments to make on their loss to the Jaguars this week. He said Jacksonville is just a better football team. They're better coached, and they have a much better team right now.
That's the most honest man I've heard this year.
Yeah, I love Mike Vrabel.
What?
I love.
I
Mike.
just said that's the most honest man I've heard this year.
I can see how that would. Does that ruffle your feathers?
No.
It doesn't ruffle my feathers, but I don't think you're just supposed to come out and, like,
Be that honest.
say it.
What, that brutally honest?
Yeah, I mean,
Listen, I can remember Jim
love
Mora
that.
coming out fucking years ago. They asked him about fucking he had lost. They had lost a game that they shouldn't have lost, and my man lost his shit on national TV.
Is that they are who we thought there were? Is that
and they were like, hey, what do you think? You guys think you can make the playoffs?
Oh,
It's like,
playoffs?
I just want to win a fucking game.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about playoffs.
Playoffs?
Bill O'Brien said today that a quarterback decision has not been made, and it is still very much up in the air.
My God.
He then went on to say, at the end of the day, Bill will make that decision at some point this week, and then we'll go from there. So
That's a good thing that Bill O'Brien said that because he's just throwing it all at Bill Belichick.
hey,
Who do we think is going
Smart
to coach
man.
that team next year?
I don't know.
Who are we allowed to talk about who's going to be the head coach of that team next year?
Honest to God, if I was a betting man, you want to know who I think it is? I think there's two candidates that could
Josh
coach that team
McDaniels.
next year. I don't think it's.
I highly doubt it's Josh.
I
Are they
think
notable names? I want to play this game. Right
I have two that in my head that I think could do it.
now. Do they have Patriots ties?
Yes.
Are they currently coaching?
Yes.
Okay. Are they currently head coaches?
No.
Okay.
So they're
You're not going to
coordinating.
say Matt Patricia, are you?
No.
My God, you
Okay.
say Matt Patricia, I'm fucking
No.
done. I'm
But
shooting
there's
myself
two to me that
right on
stand out
camera
big.
here.
Go ahead.
Bill O'Brien
Okay.
Well, that's an obvious one.
and Brian Flores.
Brian Flores is a great coach.
Hold on now. I don't think Brian Flores will ever step his foot back in New England after the bullshit that happened with him.
I think
It didn't
Him
happen
losing
there,
his
though.
job in
It
Miami.
didn't
Miami.
happen there, though. It happened in Miami.
I get
And
that.
that was Belichick
But that
who
was
put the gun to his
catalyst.
head.
Who blew that up?
Belichick did.
Thank you.
but
Thank
that's why I think it makes the most sense. It's part of the
Oh, so
reason why
you
I
think
it
he'll
makes
go
the
back
most
there
You go
just to
spite
spite
him.
everybody?
You go
Yeah.
spite him.
Fuck yeah.
I don't know. I think he hates Bill Belichick at this point enough to where I think he would kill him if he seen him on the street.
The Ravens worked out former Buccaneers tight end O.J. Howard today. Expect him to sign with the team within the coming days.
So
Guess what? I like Isaiah Likely, but that to me, O.J. Howard was always the big athletic tight end. If you put him into Mark Andrews' role
O.J.
while
Howard
he's out,
didn't do anything with Tom Brady as his quarterback. So why are we
I'm
fucking
aware,
talking about
because
this?
Lamar Jackson
me a
loves
break.
those kind of
Mark
guys.
Andrews
I
can
like-
block, though.
I got
That's
better.
true.
I got some better news than all of them.
Well, I have one more piece of news that you're going to love, and then you can give us all the
Go
news
ahead.
you would like. The NFL is currently reviewing Broncos safety Kareem Jackson's hit on Vikings quarterback Josh Dobbs on Sunday night. They are looking at potential discipline. Jackson just returned from a 2-game suspension, so a violation could end his season and trigger a season-long suspension. No flag was
Ridiculous.
no flag was thrown.
Fucking
on the flag.
ridiculous.
So
No flag was thrown. Ridiculous. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Why don't you just put a diaper on him? Put a diaper on him, stick a goddamn pacifier in his mouth, and bang him. Weirdos. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for it to come out that way.
I didn't see that one coming from left field. You went diaper, pacifier, and then bang him. Wow. Anyway,
Drill back.
Can I talk about the real news?
sure. Uncle Sam has some news.
Jerry Jones had made an announcement yesterday. I've been waiting for this all day. Jerry Jones said Jimmy Johnson will be inducted into the Cowboys Ring of Honor. It's been 30 years.
Do you know what game they're doing it?
It's been 30 fucking years, dude.
Do you know what game they're
No, I don't. No.
against the Detroit Lions?
Are they really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Jerry Jones. You know what? If I was fucking you know who, Jimmy should have just pulled it out of his pants and slapped him in the face with it. But you know what? Jimmy took it like a big guy. He's like, hey, thank you. He even looked like he was very enthused with it. Did you see it?
So take us back in time real quick. Why did Jimmy Johnson get fired?
Because he wouldn't listen to fucking Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones had an idea of what he wanted his football team to be. And Jimmy Johnson was like, don't touch what ain't fucking broke. And they couldn't get along. They couldn't make... Jimmy Johnson wanted to make decisions on roster, and Jerry wanted to swing his dick because he's the owner. And he should have listened to the fucking guy that was running his football team instead of being the egotistical, maniacal asshole that he is.
Who's the egotistical and maniacal asshole?
Jerry Jones.
Oh, okay.
He should have listened to Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson won him 3 Super Bowls. 3.
Well, Jimmy Johnson also made more money, $20,000 per commercial, doing a series of commercials for the male enhancement pill Extends than he did in a year coaching the Cowboys.
Ironic, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
So what does that tell you?
I guess Jerry
wasn't just announcing it. He was a client.
He was a client.
Yes.
Jimmy Johnson tested out the Extends before he signed it.
He's arguably probably one of the greatest coaches of all time, Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah. Shout out to Jimmy.
Shout out to Jimmy. 3 Super Bowls. Hey, a national championship at the University of Miami.
3 Super Bowls.
I take stock into that.
3 Super Bowls,
I take
a ring
stock
for
of that.
Miami.
He was the guy who invented the fucking board, the draft board. He was the guy who invented it.
Do you think they gave him a lifetime supply of dong pills for doing those commercials? Or no?
I don't believe so, because if that's true, he'd be dead.
All right, let's recap. So, first off,
Fucking beautiful throw.
I have a question. Where should we start? Would you like to start with our Detroit Lions recap? Or would
Hold
you like
on.
to save the Lions
Let's
recap?
save it. Let's go over the things that we've already talked about, like Jets, Bills, and Commanders, Giants.
All right, well, let's start with the Jets and the Bills, okay? Because those, yeah, you're right. We can
Hey,
run through
as
this
ugly as that Jets and Bills game was, there was a point where I actually thought the Jets were going to fucking come back in that game.
I didn't.
As ugly as it was.
Yeah, I didn't.
I did not.
I didn't.
The Jets headed to upstate New York to play the Bills. The Bills come out on top of this one 32-6. It was a 16-6 game at the half. The Bills put on 13 in the third quarter and essentially stopped playing football after that. Josh Allen got 20 for 32, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick in this game. James Cook, 17 for 73. Khalil Shakir continuing his hot streak, 3 for 115 and a touchdown. Ty Johnson picked up a touchdown through the air, 3 for 47, as did James Cook, 3 for 39 and a touchdown. It was a quiet night for Stephon Diggs because it didn't really have to be.
Well, I think Diggs is out of there anyway. I think he's done there.
Well, I mean, he's going to be there the rest of the year at least.
Yeah.
As far as the Jets go, Zach Wilson was 7 for 15 for 81 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Tim Boyle came in and was 7 for 14 for 33 yards and a pick. Breece Hall, 10 for 23. Guess I traded him at the right time. And Garrett Wilson, 2 for 9 and a fumble. So, offensively, it was an absolute petrified shit show for the Jets. Obviously, it cost Zach Wilson his job. We don't really need to talk about them anymore.
Garrett Wilson should have been a top 3 receiver in this league.
But
A fucking shame.
I think we do owe a little conversation piece here to the Buffalo Bills because we were essentially completely ready to write them off last week, and we talked.
We all picked the Bills this week. It wasn't like we thought they were going to lose to the Jets.
But we thought Bruce did pick the Jets,
I picked
for
the
the record.
Jets.
He picked the Jets. But we all thought that this was going to be a decent game because the Jets defense would be able to stifle the Bills a little bit. Like, we all had the Jets covering in this game.
Okay.
So
We were all wrong.
we were all wrong. Now, I have a little scenario to pose here. So Buffalo's 6-5. They're 1 game behind Miami. And they play Philadelphia next week on Sunday.
Okay.
Let's throw a hypothetical in here. If Buffalo beats Philadelphia going into the bye week, are we back in?
Well, they're back
At Philadelphia. If Buffalo beats Philly in Philly next Sunday,
Okay.
are we back in on the Bills?
I would have to. It depends where things stand when they beat the Bills. I think that should put them in the conversation, but you have a lot of hot teams in the bottom of the AFC right now that they have to fight against. They have to fight against whatever's going on in the North. They have to fight against the Denver Broncos now. They have to fight against their own division still.
So they got Philly, bye week, KC.
But are you talking about metaphorically buying in? Hey, the Bills are good.
Yes, if the Bills beat Philly next week.
And beat Kansas City the week after.
Well, they got the bye and then KC. That's a whole different conversation. I don't want to go because if they beat Philly, go into the bye, come out, beat Kansas City.
Philly beats, let's say Philly beats Kansas City tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Bills beat
and
Philadelphia.
Philly
Yes.
loses to
If that's the
them,
scenario, I would
the week
feel
after,
good. I
they're
would
in
feel
it.
good. Yes.
Because then you'd have the Bills sitting at 7-5, a game, still one game behind Miami.
Correct.
And
But I think they have the
Things are getting
tiebreaker
interesting.
on Miami because they beat them.
they did beat Miami. Yes.
If the Eagles lose tonight, the Lions are tied for first.
Yes, they are. Indeed, they are.
Could be tonight.
Could be the night.
Could be the night.
Could be the night.
If my playoff machine is remembrance skills are correct, I think the Lions hold the tiebreaker. I'm not certain. We could run that. Or no,
they do.
they don't.
They do because they beat Kansas City.
There's more that's a
Kansas
tiebreaker.
City beats Philadelphia.
Can I throw
We
it
have
in
the
there real
tiebreaker.
There's
quick?
more in front of it though. It's common. Common opponents is up there, but I think it's record within the conference first,
Correct.
and their losses would be both to the AFC. So I think they would have it.
So
It should already be there.
Just
Go to the
this
first week. It's the last game, bottom right. Keep going. Go up.
And you give Kansas City a win and give the Lions a win.
Yeah.
No, they still
The
don't.
Lions already have the win. Yeah. So I'm fairly certain that the Eagles hold the tiebreak at the moment. But again, they got a gauntlet.
They have a gauntlet coming up. I was talking about that today.
let's give the Lions Green Bay.
So,
No, there it is. Hello.
well, no, he
This
didn't
is-
give
what-
Philadelphia.
Okay,
a
so
win
what
yet.
if Philly?
If Philly beats Buffalo, go give Philadelphia the win. So yeah, Philadelphia still has the tiebreaker with the same record. I don't know why,
so
but they
if
do.
Kansas
So
City
flip it,
wins,
though.
Detroit is in first place in the NFC.
If they lose,
No,
to the
no, no,
Bills,
there's
the
still
Lions
the
are-
They have the best record.
The Eagles, well, they're tied. They're tied for the best
Right,
They're
record.
tied record-wise, but we have the tiebreaker.
Yes.
Because they would have lost to Kansas City.
Listen. We are Chiefs fans. No, if you're a Lions fan, you are a Chiefs fan tonight, no matter
100%.
what.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's that simple.
Even though
I
they
took the
hate
Eagles,
Patriots.
by the way.
It's because you suck, dude. You'd rather see the Eagles in the Super Bowl than the fucking Lions. Fucking
No.
Fairweather has been
I
don't think so.
bandwagon jumper.
I don't think
Anyways,
so.
we
Lions
need
fan before you were still in your daddy's bag.
to talk about the New York Giants
Yes.
going into the capital city and beating up on the Commanders 31-19. And we can't talk about this game with talking about Jesus H. DeVito, 18 for 26, 246 yards, 3 fucking touchdown passes through the air
Tommy Danny DeVito.
for a QBR of 137.7. Shout out to the man that we all called the worst
quarterback in
fucking
football.
quarterback to ever play the game last week,
I was dead wrong.
Danny DeVito. Garrett's in the chat.
I was dead wrong.
Garrett is in the
Are
chat.
you fucking kidding me?
How
For
do
the
you
prone.
know? I don't
Right
know.
there.
Garrett's in the chat
For the phone?
for the prone.
What's the prone?
And you just
He doesn't.
for the prone.
Is he high?
No, for the prone.
Oh.
But Danny DeVito yesterday beat up on him. He outplayed Sam Howell. Sam Howell's 31 for 45, 255 yards, a touchdown, and 3 picks for Sam Howell yesterday.
Can I tell you what
I said
happened with
Danny
Danny
DeVito
DeVito?
was sacked 5 times in the first quarter.
This is what happened yesterday for Tommy DeVito. He woke up, he played the song, drove to the stadium,
You don't know what song.
and then he put on for Jersey. That's all you could really do is put on for Jersey.
What did he say? Danny DeVito said all week he walked around the facility and told them that he, quote unquote, had the Jersey juice this week.
And he
that
did.
he was going to come out and he was going to win them that game.
He made some big ass throws too.
Tony Soprano.
Hey, he stood in the pot. Hey, he took a fucking beating. That kid was sacked 7 times in the fucking first half.
Listen, Syracuse Tommy DeVito was very good. He put up some points they didn't win a crazy amount of games, but they were in games against Clemson and Florida State. He might have even beat Florida State. I don't remember exactly what Champaign, Illinois Tommy DeVito did, but he's not some I'm not going to judge him on those first 2 weeks. I would like to see him get better. Yeah. I don't think he's gonna do what he just did this last week. I think it sounds more about the Redskins or the Commanders than it does about Tommy DeVito and the Giants.
No, because it said a lot for him, man. Listen, that first game, he couldn't fucking connect a pass 5 yards in front of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And my man was fucking tearing it down the field. So I don't agree with that. I thought Saquon Barkley was a fucking monster.
Well, I was just going to say 14 for 83. That's 6 yards per carry. He also had 57 yards and 4 receptions through the air with 2 touchdowns. Darius Slayton 4 for 82 and a touchdown in this game as well. The Giants didn't look all that bad yesterday.
No, their defense was solid. They were getting fucking all kinds of pressure on Sam Howell.
Can I ask the question? Does this game say more about Washington, or does this game say more about the Giants?
It says more about the Commanders. It says more about the disarray that the Commanders are in.
But this is
it says about divisional games.
The problem is I always get so happy to see the Commanders do well because for some reason I have a soft spot for this team and I want them to do well, and then they always shit the bed. Is it why? Is it Riverboat
you want to know what the problem
is?
Team? They need Dan Schneider back. That's what the problem is. Dan Schneider, wherever you are, go buy the team back.
Where are you going?
He's getting another Aladdin.
You're having a second Aladdin?
Yes, I am.
Jesus Christ.
He's about to explode.
All right, let's talk about another divisional game.
I'm good. Let's
talk about another divisional game. The Pittsburgh Steelers headed to Cleveland to play the Browns. The Cleveland Browns edge this one out 13-10. Dorian Thompson-Robinson picks up his first W in the NFL as a starter. He was 24 for 43.
What flavor is that? Did you just restock? Did you restock the cooler?
No. You didn't put it in the cooler.
The cooler?
It's not in the fridge. It's warm Aladdin.
You did yesterday.
It's in the fridge. I put it in there fucking
Well, you didn't put the whole fucking
last
box
week,
in
Friday.
It didn't fit, fucker, because you got that gay-ass beer in there. You need to get that little monkey juice out of there.
Anyways, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, 24 for 43, 165 yards on a pick. Kareem Hunt, 12 for 36. Kenny Pickett, 15 for 28, 106 yards. Jalen Warren had a monster day. 9 rushes for 120 yards.
The guy I wanted to fucking trade for. You guys all suck dick.
You need another Aladdin.
Najee Harris, 12 for 35. So, looks like Jalen Warren is going to be the new bona fide number one guy there.
Does it?
Had a great game.
Oh, I got a feeling about him. Yeah, okay.
There was not a lot of offense in this game whatsoever. At the end of the day, Cleveland beat the Steelers' defense just that one time and was able to get this done. What do we think? I still personally feel like the Steelers should stay in lockstep with the Ravens going forward. This Cleveland thing is cute, but I'm not bought into the Cleveland thing yet.
Best defense in the NFL.
I'm bought into the Cleveland thing because the defense. I do think they're going to get into the playoffs because it's just one of those defenses that's just going to do just enough every week to keep them in the games. I think whoever it is, if it's Dorian Thompson-Robinson or P.J. Walker,
or Joe Flacco.
I think they got a better chance with this. I would keep the Thompson kid in there
100%
and let him develop
100%. This is the 5th time I've said this on the show. I've watched Dorian Thompson-Robinson play in Chip Kelly's complex, crazy offense, and he did just fine. So I think if he's in if they could simplify it and keep doing what they're doing with Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford, and if they could just when he needs to make the throws to Njoku and when he needs to make the throws to Amari Cooper or whoever's catching the ball, I feel good about what Dorian Thompson-Robinson can do. I really do. I genuinely do. And with that defense, they're going to win a lot of games. We're talking about Myles Garrett as a legitimate MVP candidate right now.
Yes.
He's very much in the conversation.
Guy's a monster.
He's a monster, and their whole defense is very good. Do I think they're going to win the division? No. I totally think that they are the class of those wild card AFC teams. If it's Bills and Browns, I'm taking the Browns.
You don't like
am I crazy?
What about Bills Houston?
Triple Jam's good.
I'm taking the Browns.
Wow.
Thank you. I am too.
I'm taking the Browns over any team that isn't Baltimore, Kansas City.
I picked the Browns to win that.
Who else? I'm probably taking the Dolphins over the Browns. I'm taking the Browns over a lot of teams.
I don't know about that. You know what? The Dolphins were shaky yesterday.
All I'm gonna say is before last week, we thought the Jets' defense was probably better than Cleveland's, and look what the Bills did to them.
Fair. I got to see a lot more. I
I
got to
will
see
say
a
this:
series of
unlike
Bills
the
plays.
Jets, the Cleveland Browns offense is not totally fucking impotent, and Zach Wilson is not quarterback.
Listen,
Cleveland Browns.
I
They
don't
need
know
some
if
of
I
Jimmy
would-
Johnson's stash of extends.
I don't
that.
know if I would say that Cleveland's offense is not.
It's better than fucking the Jets.
Yes,
If
but
you
the
can
Jets
run the
are
ball-
32 of 32.
If you could run the ball effectively, good things will happen. And I trust that over time, I don't think Dorian Thompson-Robinson is going to be some world beater, but I trust that over time, in the next couple weeks, he can make enough plays to keep them in games. We can't sleep on Pittsburgh's defense. Pittsburgh's
That's what
defense
I'm
is one of the
saying.
best.
I think
Right.
that's why I still. The problem is Kenny Pickett has been so fucking disappointing, so
I
bad.
don't know
It's a
why
major
everybody keeps
problem.
It's a
pointing the
major
finger at him.
Major problem.
I will say this: this kid.
Listen, he
No.
Don't think about
overthrows.
Kenny
bad.
Pickett. He could take a fucking beating.
That's great.
You got to be
but-
able to throw
and
the
he's
ball.
tough as nails.
He misses every single receiver by at least
20 yards
yeah,
deep.
minimum.
He throws
So does
past
Geno
the sticks.
Smith.
He throws
Well,
past
Geno
the
Smith
sticks
is
every
dog
time.
shit too.
So does fucking what the hell's that kid's name in Tampa?
Baker Mayfield.
Mayfield.
That's the thing.
But
We're
he's
not supposed,
tough as nails.
we're not supposed to be comparing
Kenny Pickett's
Pickett
bad.
to Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield.
Kenny
And he's
Pickett's
worse than
genuinely
both
bad.
right
We've
now.
seen a body of work on Kenny Pickett at this point to where he's just bad because all the pieces are there. I don't love what Matt Canada's doing still.
No.
but
I don't
all of
like
the pieces
him.
are
I
there.
think he needs. He needs to get out.
It always goes back to Brock Purdy and how you hate him. Brock Purdy makes the throws. Kenny
Yeah, but
Pickett does not make the
hold on.
throws.
Time out. Don't go to Brock Purdy ever.
I just did.
Okay. Don't
I
do
just-
it.
I just
You
went
wanna
right
know
to Brock
why?
Purdy.
If you could take Kenny Pickett and stick him on San Francisco's
Nope.
team,
Oh,
he'd be doing the same
no,
fucking
no,
thing.
no,
Fuck you
no.
guys.
Nope.
He'd be
No,
doing
no.
the same thing.
Nope.
Oh,
You
come
know,
on.
you know as
Get
well,
your answer
you know
phone.
as well as I do.
No.
You are
That-
full of certified
No.
petrified
And
shit
that system,
right now.
that system quarterback argument holds less water every week because nobody has more perfect passer ratings in the last year than Brock Purdy. No quarterback in the league, and he did it again this weekend.
So we can jump over there if you guys would like. The Tampa
Please.
Bay Buccaneers headed to the Bay Area to play the 49ers.
Shout out to you, Dark Lumen. You got my back.
49ers come out on top in this one, 27-14. They are now 7-3 and standing alone at the top of the NFC West. Well, Tampa Bay drops to 4-6 and are slowly falling down the ranks of the NFC South. Brock Purdy, QBR 158.3. 21 of 25 for 333 yards and 3 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey, 21 of 78. Brendan Ayuk, 5 for 156 yards and a touchdown. Kittle, 8 for 89 and a touchdown. McCaffrey also caught a touchdown pass through the air on 5 receptions for 25 yards. On the other side of things, Baker Mayfield, 29 of 45 for 246 yards, a touchdown, a pick. Rashad White, 9 of 30 and a touchdown. They still cannot run the football in Tampa Bay. Cade Otton led the team in yardage through the air, 4 for 49. Mike Evans was 5 for 43 and a touchdown.
By the way, there was quite a few drops in that game for Baker Mayfield too. I don't know if you guys had seen it.
Mike Evans dropped 2 that should have been
Touchdowns.
no question.
Baker didn't have a bad game against that defense. I actually thought what Baker did was good yesterday.
I
They were
thought
kind of
they
in it in the
played
second
really
half.
well against them.
Yeah.
Even though I'll tell you who really impressed me yesterday, Rashad White.
On 9 for 30?
He impressed me with the way he was running the football. He really did.
Listen to me.
Because he doesn't have much of an offensive line in front of him. But outside pass blocking, their offensive line can't do shit. But I'll tell you what, they impressed the shit out of me.
Listen, they are 32 in rushing. They are 32 of 32.
And it's not him.
Well-
It's not him. Because that kid could catch anything that's thrown at him, and he's productive. Listen, there's only one other guy beside Christian McCaffrey in this league that lead the league in fucking receiving as a running back, and it's fucking him. Rashad White is behind Christian McCaffrey in receiving yards.
They still can't run the football.
Well, I
This
just
is
said it.
year
Hello?
3 on them not being able to run the football.
I think Rashad White's pretty good.
Brock Purdy's the best.
I think Rashad White's pretty good, and I think that this breakout that Rashad White's been having the last couple weeks was a long time in the making. I've been following it, and I'm excited to see what he does because I think he's a very, very good running back. I think you can make the case he's a top 10 running back in the league.
I'm not disagreeing about Rashad White.
Shut up, Garrett.
I think Rashad White. I think Rashad White is a very serviceable back. I just don't understand why this team can't run the ball. I just don't. All you've done is invest draft picks in the offensive line.
Listen.
Anyways,
they had to run the ball yesterday to keep that San Francisco defense honest.
yeah, they ran for 47 yards.
They did it as good as they could.
Yeah, it was awful. Their best is still awful.
Couple plays here and there. Mike Evans catches 2 of those passes. You're talking about a different football game. Period.
Listen to me. I don't know how much longer that we're going to sit here and you're going to give Tampa Bay what Baker Mayfield isn't that great of a quarterback, okay?
You need to stop right now. The guy was money in college. Baker Mayfield is not the problem with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The problem with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is the coaching staff is absolute dog shit.
We know that.
They're the worst coaching staff probably outside of
I don't know.
the Commanders.
No, I take Ron Rivera over Todd Bowles.
Okay. Todd Bowles is fucking garbage.
I know. Todd Bowles is the bottom.
But you can't blame everything
I'm not blaming,
fucking Baker Mayfield.
I'm not blaming everything on Baker. I'm not blaming Baker is a problem
because his numbers are just as good as Tom Brady's were.
All you want to do is talk about how tough Baker is, but he's not a good quarterback. I'm sorry.
You need to wake up, bud.
It's not good.
I'm up. I'm just sick of talking about Tampa and San Francisco.
Anyways, Brock Purdy had a fantastic game. McCaffrey had a fantastic game.
Oh, wait, I'm perked up now.
And Brendan Ayuk was a man on a mission yesterday.
Yeah, by the way, that was some career highs for him.
And for who?
Brandon Ayuk.
He's a monster.
156 yards. Very nice game for him.
Career game for him yesterday.
And I think San Francisco's right back into the stride they were before their skid, personally.
I got to see a little more. I want to see how they fare against Seattle. And I know they have Philly coming up. San Francisco's got Philly in the next month.
Yep.
It's towards Christmas. Their schedule's not easy. San Francisco's schedule isn't easy, but they have some big games that they can prove themselves in, similar to how they proved themselves against Dallas back in week 4 or week 5, whenever that was. And I'm excited to see. But I'm not ready to go to San Francisco as one of the best teams in the NFC again until I see them against those teams.
Best teams in the NFC don't lose 3 in a row.
I think they're 3. I think they're number 3.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that.
Next up, let's go to Green Bay. Talk about a game that I thought personally was going to cost Brendan Staley his job.
Someone had this. Someone you had Green Bay.
I took Green Bay.
You had Green Bay.
Yeah.
Hold on. Did you take Green Bay?
We all took the Chargers. He took Green Bay. I have it right.
Wow. Blind squirrel / nut. Anyways, the LA Chargers headed to Green Bay to play the Packers. Both these teams are now sitting at 4-6. Chargers are last in the AFC West. Green Bay comes out on top in this one, 23-20. And I can't believe that this team's going to continue to move forward with Brendan Staley because realistically, even if it's not all his fault, he deserves to be martyred for this because that game was theirs to fucking lose, and they found a way to lose.
Some games in the beginning of the year they shouldn't have won.
I'm aware. Justin Herbert, 21 for 36 for 260 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 73 yards on the ground. Eckler, 10 for 64. Keenan Allen, 10 for 116 yards and a touchdown. Stone Smart had 1 catch for 51 yards and a touchdown.
How could you be stoned and smart?
Stone Smart. Smart with 2 T's. No idea who the fuck that is.
I don't see how you could take a team with that roster and not win 10 games.
Why is Quinn Johnson still not being utilized with Palmer and Mike Williams?
He might suck. He had a horrible drop there at the end.
2 for 21. Yeah, he was targeted 6 times, only pulled in 2. I mean, my God, Joey Bosa went down injured in this one really early on.
He was crying coming off the field, so obviously his shit is not bullshit. It's serious.
But for every Joey Bosa that went down, there's an Aaron Jones that went down.
Absolutely.
Right.
So those are 2 impact players, and the Packers still ended up pulling it out.
And I'll tell you what, Jordan Love
Jordan Love was 27 for 40 for 322 yards and 2 touchdowns.
The problem with Jordan Love is he's only completing about a little over 50% of his passes. That's an issue. His accuracy is an issue.
Listen, neither of these teams are good. Like, neither of these teams
I'm not saying they're not
good.
good. I'm just saying this. I think Jordan Love has less to work with than fucking Justin Herbert.
Well, Jaden Reed really emerged.
All the pass catchers popped off, though.
Yeah,
Romeo Dobbs, Jaden Reed,
Dobbs had a good
Christian
game.
Watson, all three of them popped off.
Dontavion Wicks,
What the fuck is that?
3 for 91.
Is that a candle company?
Romeo
No,
Dobbs.
but I mean, think about it, though. I mean, whose receiving core do you think is really better?
Oh, by far, the Chargers.
Exactly.
By far,
And who's supposed to be the better quarterback?
Justin Herbert.
Thank you.
And who has the better running backs?
Justin
I'll take
Herbert.
Eckler and Josh Kelly before I take
Before-
A.J. Dillon and Aaron
Agreed.
Jones.
Agreed 100%.
Yeah.
Agreed 100%.
So with that offense alone,
And realistically, who has the better defense?
The Chargers.
So who are we blaming?
you got to blame the
Staley's
got
got to go.
The
to blame the
Chargers.
coaching staff.
I just can't fucking
Hey, I'm
believe
not a
this
fan
guy's still
of that idiot in fucking Green Bay.
And you know something?
I'm not a fan of his.
Matt LaFleur should be gone,
personally,
too.
Matt LaFleur should have been fired last year.
Can I say something, though? You were so upset about the fact that you traded Calvin Ridley, but I essentially just gave you Jaden Reed for nothing in return.
You know what? All right.
And
The guy
Jaden Reed,
the guy had a little end around with a touchdown.
3 for
Okay,
46
what else
yards
you
and a
gonna tell me?
touchdown on the ground, and he
What else you
also
gonna
was
tell
4 for 46 through the air. That's a very nice fantasy day for Jaden Reed.
Yeah.
And
Green Bay.
yeah, they'll be here soon.
what happens.
I think they're going to show up very nicely and look very good on Thursday, the Packers. I'm anticipating them playing very hard based on how they got embarrassed in the first
And I'll
half.
tell you who I liked yesterday that really had a great game. Rashad Gary had a
He's
fucking really
been,
good game yesterday.
when he's healthy,
And he's been turning
an
it up the last
absolute
3
beast.
weeks.
What did he have, a sack and a forced fumble yesterday?
He's been doing that the
good.
last 3 weeks.
He's
bud.
just good.
Next up, let's head down to Miami, where the Las Vegas Raiders, who are now 5-6, played the Dolphins and played them very tight. This Raiders team, ever since they have made the change at head coach, has looked like a new football team, and they hold Miami's extremely high-powered offense to 20 points. Miami does come out on top in this one, 20-13. Aiden O'Connell didn't really help their cause. He was 24 for 41 with 271 yards passing, a touchdown, and 3 interceptions. Before we keep talking about everybody else in this game, can Aiden O'Connell really be better at this point than Jimmy Garoppolo?
I think Jimmy Garoppolo is really bad. There's enough of a body of work on Jimmy Garoppolo, and he hasn't gotten better.
So you don't think they'd have a better chance to win right now
No.
if Jimmy G was at the
No, because they lost some big games against bad teams with Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'd rather see the rookie get better.
I want to speak in behalf
Please.
of Jimmy Garoppolo.
Please.
Because I will say this. You know what? I don't think if Jimmy Garoppolo was playing right now, that you would see a drop off in what they're doing as a team in general. It was obvious that Josh McDaniels was the problem. The offensive coordinator was garbage. And it's obvious they had no kind of rapport with Josh McDaniels. You cannot blame fucking Jimmy Garoppolo for the putrid team they were putting out there every week.
You know who did have a rapport with Josh McDaniels?
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo. He was the one link to Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, but he's not the one fucking calling the plays and losing the locker room every week.
I think Jimmy Garoppolo is garbage, and just to see if your theory
I don't think
holds,
so.
I want Jimmy Garoppolo to get in a game here just to see if your theory holds. I just think he's bad. I just think Jimmy Garoppolo is bad. He's not a good quarterback.
Josh Jacobs was 14 for 39 in this game. Devontae Adams, 7 for 82 and a touchdown through the air. Jacoby Myers, 4 for 49. As far as the Dolphins offense goes, Tua, 28 for 39 for 325 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. It's QBR 103. Raheem Mostert, 22 for 86. It's 4 yards per carry. Obviously, Devon A-Chain got hurt in this game after just 1 carry. Tyreek Hill, 10 for 146 yards and a touchdown. He is continuing his tear.
He's got a hand issue though.
He does have a hand issue, which he talked about today.
He was still catching the ball. I don't.
Well, he said that he was quote unquote upset that he might not be able to play Fortnite, but he will be playing in the next game.
And
So
that
priorities,
that
bud.
comment
Priorities.
hit Bruce right in the feels when he heard that, and Bruce started crying when he heard that.
Where the fuck is Leon at? I don't see Leon.
Leon hasn't been in the chat. Oh, there he is. Leon
is he?
said something about Tim Tebow. Right
Said
after
something about you inviting him over for Thanksgiving.
Huh? Oh, anyway.
Said something about you inviting him over for Thanksgiving.
Oh, he said
he asked
here,
what
that
you're
was at the
having.
beginning.
I don't even know. We're on to better things at the moment, okay?
I'm just telling you.
What we doing for Turkey?
Robbie
Day?
Chosen.
I'm coming over.
Robbie Chosen played in this game after being cut, then signed to the practice squad, and then promoted this week. Robbie Chosen, 2 for
That's
39.
because Braxton Berrios did not play.
Braxton Berrios did not play in this game.
He's a little under the weather, injured.
Oh, no. Hate to hear it. Hate to hear it. Next up, the Dallas Cowboys headed to Carolina to play the Panthers. And did all of us take Carolina to cover in this game? I think we all might have.
No,
I don't know if I
You
did.
definitely did.
I don't know if I did.
I don't remember saying that.
I think I remember you saying that.
Did I do?
I
Maybe
think
you want to
so.
look it up.
Maybe we'll have to have Bruce go check the film. Anyways, Dallas put on a clinic in Carolina. The final score was 33-10.
I don't think I
What
took
was the
Carolina to
number?
cover. It was 10.5.
10.5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a
I
big
took
number,
I
huh?
took the Cowboys because they're
Oh,
hot.
you're right.
As shit.
I might have said I covered that.
Cooper Rush got some time in this game. Dak Prescott was 25 for 38 for 189 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Gee, that's impressive.
Tony Pollard 12.
25 of 38 for 100 yards. Woo.
Tony Pollard 12 for 61 and a touchdown. Rico Dowdle 8 for 23. CeeDee Lamb only 6 for 38 and a touchdown in this game. Brennan Cooks 3 for 42. As far as the Carolina offense goes, Bryce Young was 16 for 29, 123 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Chuba Hubbard 10 for 57. Miles Sanders 11 for 50. And Tommy Tremble's lone 4-yard reception was their touchdown in this game. Is anybody really surprised here?
No.
Were Dallas's numbers as kind of shitty as they were because they could be?
They took their foot off the gas in the second half.
Well, at one point in the beginning of this game, too,
It was
Carolina's
17-3
defense
at
was
the
actually playing pretty
It
well.
was 17-3 at the half.
Yeah.
Good job, Dallas. Anything else?
Good job beating up on the bottom team in the league. Go ahead.
Carolina's 1-9.
It doesn't matter because Dallas is just the only teams they have beaten are teams that are fucking absolutely atrocious. So
Well,
let's move on.
speaking of that, just real quick, going forward, yeah, their losses are to Arizona, San Francisco, and Philadelphia. Their next few games: Washington, Seattle, Philadelphia, Buffalo, Miami, Detroit, and they finish out the year at Washington. And Washington usually picks one of those up.
Well, that Washington game will
Cowboys
be a
and
really tough
Indians.
game, especially the one at Washington.
Cowboys and Indians.
Yep.
Next
Should
up,
have been Cowboys and Redskins. Go ahead.
let me see where we're at here. The Tennessee Titans headed down to Jacksonville for a
Divisional game.
Fucking blowout.
Tennessee did not really have an answer for
I took
Jacksonville
Tennessee in this
yesterday.
game.
Yes, you did. Jacksonville comes out on top 34-14. Trevor Lawrence, 24 of 32, 262 yards and 2 tuds. Travis Etienne, 14 of 52 on the ground. He also picked up 3 receptions for 7 yards through the air.
Runs hard.
Calvin Ridley, the star of the day, 7 for 103 and 2 touchdowns in his resurgence. Does this mean good things for the Jaguars going forward when you see a game like
How many
this out of
targets did
Ridley?
he have?
Yeah, they're not going to win games. They're not going to win games unless they get him introduced to the offense,
Amen.
in my opinion. Number one. Number two, I saw a really good stat. It was hard to interpret without people knowing in-depth analytics, but the gist is when Zay Jones is on the field at the same time as Calvin Ridley's numbers are extremely inflated. They're very good. So less Christian Kirk, more Zane Jones, and you'll win some games.
Christian Kirk caught 7 of 9 targets. Calvin Ridley was 7 of 9 targets. Christian Kirk was only 3 for 48. Zay Jones pulled in all 4 of his
3 what?
3 receptions, 48 yards.
How many targets did he have?
Christian Kirk or Calvin Ridley?
Christian Kirk,
6 targets.
6 targets.
So they targeted Ridley more than Kirk in this game.
They gave him 7.
Kirk had 6 targets. Ridley had 9.
9 targets.
Yeah.
Yeah. That should be about 14 a game for him. He's clearly the most talented guy on that roster.
You got him for free.
He stretches the fucking field. What is wrong with you people? What the fuck?
Will Levis, 13 for 17 for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Awful.
Derrick Henry, 10 for 38.
Listen to me. It's obvious what their problem is. Their offensive line is fucking dog shit.
Just fucking awful.
They're dog shit.
Yeah, it's bad in Tennessee. I wouldn't be shocked if Tennessee finishes the year with
If you
4
can't
wins.
get Derrick Henry
Going.
fucking 80 yards a game, you're dog shit.
Dog shit.
You're dog shit.
Petrified.
A guy like Derrick Henry, come on, dude.
DeAndre Hopkins had 1 touchdown reception in this game, as did Jeffrey Simmons.
Jeffrey Simmons. There was a play
Do I get his
that he
points
threw
for
up
that?
In the backfield.
You should.
And fucking, who did he hit? Was it Etienne?
I don't know.
Dude, he hit somebody and motherfucking
Jeffrey
he
Simmons
didn't
had a
get
touchdown?
up.
Jeffrey Simmons, 1 reception for 2 yards and a touchdown.
I get two tackles for loss. Hold on, let me look at his stat. I
Maybe
better get
that'll
the
come in
touchdown.
stat corrections because he had a
No,
touchdown
I got the TD reception. Yeah,
Did?
yeah.
Touchdown reception for Jeffrey Simmons. DeAndre Hopkins was 4 for 59 and had the other touchdown. So, Tennessee put the check mark through him. I think that season's done. Do you think
They tried to run the ball and he tackled Travis Etienne in the backfield, and Etienne didn't get up. That guy is a beast.
So you're claiming murder?
Huh?
You're claiming it was murder?
It almost was. You don't see hits like that very often.
Do we think that we get to see Malik Willis this year?
No.
No.
I don't
it's-
think
The only way you're
Levis
going to
is
see
as bad as
Malik
you guys
Willis
think
if
he
he's
was.
traded to the fucking New York Jets.
Joseph's
So-
in the chat.
It's we think that this is Will Levis's team
I think
from
this,
here on out.
I think this says more. This win says more about Jacksonville, who needed a win.
we said
big
that.
win.
We said they needed a big win.
Yeah.
This says more about Jacksonville than it does about the Titans. The Titans is just going to be you're going through the progressions at this point with Tajay Spears, and you're going through the progressions with Levis, and you're trying to see what you have to build on going forward. And I think they're going to give Levis the time to do that. That's my 2 cents.
DeAndre Hopkins got behind the defense again and scored a big touchdown for them.
Yeah.
And at that point, it was already out of control, but Hopkins just continues to be the fucking stud that he is.
Real quick, I just want to give a quick shout out to Elizabeth. If you're listening right now, it smells good.
Yeah, the soup is
Yeah, whatever that is up there, it's
a little homemade chicken noodle.
It's
going right there.
intoxicating.
Yeah, it smells fabulous. Shout out to Joe Venditti in the chat. He asked what we think of
Who?
Rasheed Rice tonight.
Sold by
Joe
Joe
Venditti?
V.
Sold by Joe V.
Where?
Sold by Joe V. He's way up
He's
there.
the letter J in baby blue.
Stick with us. We're getting very close to our Monday night preview. We just have a couple more games to preview here, and it shouldn't take too long, or to recap, I'm sorry. Arizona headed to Houston.
Hey, stop scrolling that, motherfucker. Put it back where it was. Asshole. Stop fucking
You
with
were
that.
wondering where he was at in the chat, and I was
Just leave it
scrolling
alone.
to show you.
Don't show me. Leave it
Just
alone.
leave it alone, asshole. Here we go.
You know, I just won't do my job. Okay.
Houston comes out on top in this one, 21-16. CJ Stroud, 27 for 37, 336 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he did have 3 picks. And he said he was just going out there and he was just going to keep firing away. And he did that. Devin Singletary, 22 rushes for 112 yards and a touchdown in this game. Tank Dell continues his monster hot streak, 8 for 149 yards and a touchdown. I miss you.
Best trade I made all year.
What can you
And getting rid
say
of
about
Carter. Shit.
CJ Stroud at this point?
I think he's an MVP candidate. If Houston continues to win games, he's an MVP
Wait a
candidate.
minute.
Hold on.
Tank Dell.
I want him to be an
It's
MVP
been-
candidate.
outstanding.
I want him to be an MVP candidate. You got to be winning the division to be an MVP candidate. And if he does, he's got to be in the conversation, no questions asked. It wasn't a great game for Stroud yesterday, but same drill. I'm watching this guy, and he's making the throws, and he's making the big throws. And that's what I want in a quarterback. I want to see what CJ Stroud does every
after
week.
he threw two straight picks, comes back and just fucking lets a bullet down the sidelines to Dell. He got behind the defense.
He's got a short memory.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
What's the difference between CJ Stroud and Josh Allen?
CJ Stroud actually can play from behind.
He capitalizes.
They're the same player. Right?
I'm taking Stroud.
No, they're not.
I'm taking Stroud.
Stroud is nowhere near where Josh Allen is. He don't have his size. He doesn't have his physicality. But one thing that Stroud has that Josh Allen doesn't, he can put the fucking ball anywhere on the field that he wants to. Josh Allen does not have that.
Makes the throw.
Josh Allen can't hit a guy 10 feet in front of him because he fires it at him.
At the end of the day, when you're playing the quarterback position, the main objective for the quarterback, there's a lot of objectives. There's 100 of them. The main objective is to make the throws.
Yeah.
Stroud makes the throws. Everything else you could teach.
Yeah.
But he's putting the throws right in the right place, and a lot of the time it's at the right time.
Kyler Murray battled in this game. He battled in this game. It wasn't like he was out of it.
Kyler Murray's been battling.
Huh?
Kyler Murray's been battling.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
And with a lot less. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
A lot less. And Houston's defense was outstanding yesterday.
Yeah, you know, if I was Tua Tagovailoa owner in fantasy football, I would definitely look at all of the weapons that Kyler Murray has, like Greg Dortch, Rondale Moore, and
We had a touchdown, by the way.
Tony
Rondale Moore.
Jones, and I would definitely trade Tua straight up for Kyler Murray. But anyways, Kyler, 20 for 30.
Guess what? Kyler Murray had more fantasy points than fucking C.J. Stroud yesterday.
It's because Stroud had 3 picks.
Stroud also doesn't run. He's a pocket passer.
Kyler Murray, 20 for 30, 214 yards, a touchdown and a pick. He also had 51 yards and a rushing touchdown on the ground. James Conner, 14 for 62. Greg Dortch, 6 for 76, and Rondale Moore picked up the touchdown pass. 1 for 48, a nice 48-yard touchdown reception for him. Trey McBride, 5 for 43 on the day. I think Houston is a playoff team at this point.
Obviously, Houston's defense is a lot better than the Cardinals' defense.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously.
I think Houston's a playoff.
They should be. They should be. It's a matter of, at this point, like I said, I want to see if Houston can make a run at that division. I don't think it's going to happen, but I want to see if it, and that's when I will talk about CJ Stroud as an MVP, because you can't be an MVP and not win your division.
Do you know
who Myles Garrett?
Do you know who Houston plays this week?
The shit Browns.
Jacksonville.
Love it.
That's going to be the game to watch.
Yep.
Game of the week.
Sunday at 1:00.
And Houston got them the first.
Jacksonville at Houston.
They beat Jacksonville.
Houston got them the first
beat
time.
them.
Oh, Jacksonville beat them.
37-17 in Jacksonville.
That was week 2 or 3, maybe?
That was week 3.
3.
That's the game of the week right now, in my opinion. It's next up.
Divisional game.
Jacksonville's going to win. I don't know what.
Divisional game. No, I don't think that's one that you just chalk up for Jacksonville to win. I don't.
I think it is.
You want to know why? Because I think if you get into a track meet with Houston right now,
You lose.
you lose. And if there's a
That's what happened to the Steelers. That's what happened. Fuck. That's what happened yesterday.
The Steelers are one-dimensional. All they have is a defense.
Yeah, but the Steelers' defense is a lot better than Jacksonville.
Listen,
True.
ETN. The thing is about ETN. If Houston's defensive front plays like they should, and you shut down ETN, all they got to do is cover. If they cover Ridley, it doesn't really matter what Christian Kirk does. They've shut him down. Houston, the beautiful thing about them is if somehow they shut down Tank Dell, you have so many other beautiful options who are performing at a high level right now. I think that's going to end up being a very, very good game.
Fair.
Next up, in a game that was just riddled with injury, speaking of the devil, real quick here, Joey Bosa hit IR with a foot sprain. Kareem Jackson has been suspended for 4 games without pay after his hit yesterday. So that's gross. And Geno Smith's elbow Pete Carroll had comments on it just a few minutes ago. He said there's no structural issue, but it may take a few days to quiet down. So he is questionable for Thursday.
So when does Pete Carroll pull the rug out from under Geno Smith?
Well, let's talk about that. Seattle loses this game by 1 point. Rams come out on top 17-16. Geno Smith, 22 for 34, 233 yards and a touchdown. Drew Lock came in after Geno Smith went out. He was 2 for 6 for 3 yards and a pick for a QBR of 2. Kenneth Walker went down in this game after rushing the ball 4 times for 18 yards.
Let's rewind. That's why he's not going to pull the plug on Geno Smith. It's because Drew Lock sucks.
Listen, you got to be careful what you say now. Uncle Sam's a big Drew Lock guy. Big Drew Lock guy.
Big cock Drew Lock.
Zach Charbonnet came in after Kenneth Walker went down hurt. He was 15 for 47. DK Metcalf, 5 receptions, 94 yards and a touchdown in this. Tyler Lockett, 5 for 51. And Smith and Jigba, 3 for 40. Matthew Stafford, 17 for 31, 190 yards, a touchdown and a pick. He also got banged up in this game. Royce Freeman, 17 for 73 on the ground. Puka Nacua had a rush for 7 yards. He also had 5 receptions for 70 yards and a touchdown because Cooper Kupp went out early in this game. So, welcome back to the Puka Nacua show. Anyways, why do I have a feeling right now like neither of these teams deserve to be in the playoffs? Neither of them. I think the
Rams or them.
One of them will get in.
One of them probably will get that 7th spot, but neither of these teams deserve to be there.
Whichever one of them plays San Francisco and beat them again.
I would love for it to be the Rams. Somehow it's not going to happen. I'm still taking Seattle. I would love for the
Matt Stafford now than I ever did when he was at Detroit.
I didn't like him now.
I like him better now.
I don't like him at all.
I would love for them to pull some shit and get that 7th spot. The Lions finish with the 2, and then 7 at Ford Field, and they get their first playoff win against Stafford.
Can I pitch something to you though? So Seattle right now,
I like that storyline. I think it's fucking awesome.
Let's write the
well,
script.
I think there's a chance that happens because right now Seattle is 6-4. This is their next 4. At home against Frisco.
I
Lost.
realize that Seattle's lost twice against the Rams.
Wow.
Yes.
Lost.
Listen.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, what's his face? Geno Smith is day-to-day with the
Yes,
with the elbow.
questionable, yeah. Okay, the next 4 games for Seattle. They're at 6-4 right now. At home against Frisco.
Lost 6-5.
At Dallas.
Lost 6-6.
At Frisco.
Lost 6-7.
At home against Philly.
Lost 6-8.
They're out of the playoffs.
You think they could lose the next 4 games?
Yeah, and then they still have at Tennessee after that, which I think they'll win. And then at home against
7-8.
Pittsburgh,
Oh, wow.
which is it's not a walk in the park. And they finish the year at Arizona.
Which by that time won't
They
be a wild card.
realistically, I see 8 and they could go 8-9.
Let's give them credit. Let's give them credit. Let's say 9-8.
Okay.
Let's say 9-8.
9-8.
Do the Rams because the Rams hold the tiebreaker. Double head-to-head win.
Okay. Let's see. So the Rams right now are 4-6.
Mm-hmm.
And their schedule going forward is as follows: at Arizona,
Win.
at home against Cleveland,
I'm gonna say the Browns. We'll call that 5-7.
at Baltimore,
5-8.
at home against Washington,
6-8.
They could beat Washington.
Yeah, that's what I said. 6-8.
at home against New Orleans,
7-8.
New Orleans.
at the Giants,
8-8.
at Frisco.
Fuck. Yeah, but they still hold the tiebreaker.
I think the
So
Rams.
basically, it could either be the Vikings or the fucking.
That's if it goes 8-9.
Packers.
That's you need the wheels to fall off with Seattle,
Right.
and then at that point you're hoping that the Vikings and the Packers don't come in and take
I
both
don't-
of those
At
spots.
that
I don't
point,
think-
You know what? At that point, San Francisco might have already clinched.
Yeah.
And just.
I don't
Kinda
think we
let it
need
go.
the wheels to fall off of Seattle. I think Geno Smith is banged up. Kenneth Walker's going to miss a few games, and I think they're going to lose the next 4 without question.
There's one problem you missed. I just don't think the Rams are very good.
I don't either. That's why I think right now, if I had to bet on it today, neither of these teams make the playoffs, and it's Minnesota.
So one of the 9-8, if there's a 9-8 NFC West team and it's one of these two teams, one of these two teams is gonna get in.
I don't think either of them are going to go 9-8.
That's what it comes down to. But then still, you're hoping at that point. Remember that the NFC is as top heavy as it's ever been. The leader in the conference only has 1 loss. The second place team has 2 losses. The third place team has 3 losses. There's a wild card team with 3 losses. So it's top heavy, meaning that the teams at the bottom of the spectrum, outside of that NFC South division winner, the 3 wild card teams, 1 or 2 of them is going to be pretty good. And then the other one's going to get in with a low record. You can get in at 8-9 or 9-8.
Here we go. I'm going to ask you about the 2 that are behind the Rams right
Please.
Green Bay is 4-6. At Detroit.
I'm going to sit the Lions right now.
At home against Kansas City.
Loss.
At the Giants.
Win.
At home against Tampa.
Win.
At Carolina.
Win.
At Minnesota.
That's going to be a great fucking game. 3-3 at a minimum.
That Minnesota game.
And then
might
at home
mean
against
everything.
Chicago to end the year.
I got to play Minnesota and Chicago.
If my math is correct, though, so they're 4-6.
You have them at 8.
They're 8-9 or 9-8. 8-9
Okay.
or 9-8.
Minnesota, I think Minnesota makes the playoffs at this point without fail.
They still have to play Detroit.
Hold on. They can't choke. They can, based on what we saw from the Lions.
Here's the thing.
They could split with the Lions, but Minnesota to get into the playoffs with who's nipping at their heels has no margin for error.
Even if they lose both to the Lions, they have Chicago, Vegas, at Cincy, Green Bay, Detroit.
That Cincinnati game, they could lose that.
No, they won't.
Could.
If they're going to lose a game, they'll lose at Vegas.
Because Joe Burrow is out for the year.
Is he?
Out for
the year.
Is he?
Yes.
They said he might be back for the playoffs.
Cincinnati's a non-entity. Cincinnati is no longer an entity.
I want to see them. They're a non-entity for the playoffs, in my opinion.
Correct.
But to win winnable games with Jake Browning, I want to see how he does. We saw Jake Browning against the Ravens.
So then this is the last question mark. Okay? Atlanta.
It's still your team.
My team. They're 4-6. They have New Orleans,
They
the
don't even
Jets.
know who their fucking quarterback
But
is.
hold on. This is what I'm telling you here. They have New Orleans, the Jets, Tampa, Carolina, Indy, Chicago, New Orleans. Tell me they can't win 4 of those games.
Yeah.
So the bottom of that NFC situation right now is a clusterfuck.
It's
And
gonna be exciting to watch.
I think due to the way the schedule's set up, that the Rams and the Seahawks are going to be the 2 looking on the outside looking in. I really do.
Possible.
Okay, we have one more game to talk about, and it was 2 more, excuse me. Sunday night game. The Pastronaut went up to Denver to play Russell Wilson and the Broncos. Denver squeaks another one out. They win this game 21-20. Minnesota 6-5. Denver 5-5. And now second in the AFC West. Thoughts on this game?
It went how I thought it would go. I had Denver. I thought it would be closer. I like what the Broncos were doing against a very hot Vikings team. I like both of these teams right now. I think Denver's going to really have a shot to make a push for a wild card spot. It might be too little, too late. As for the Vikings, I still love what I saw from Josh Dobbs. I think he's good. I just don't think he's world-beating good. I'm with you. Not that I'm sick of it. I just think that we're investing too much into the Josh Dobbs thing.
I think if he can get Justin Jefferson back with him and Addison together, they could do a lot more damage than what people think.
They're already doing exceedingly good damage.
Are we
Their
all in on
ceiling-
Denver?
I will say this.
I bet, yeah. I've been
There's
all
one
in on
quarterback in the league right now who leads. Russell Wilson has 19 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Until that game yesterday, C.J. Stroud was leading the NFL in touchdown to interception ratio. Russell Wilson passed him yesterday.
You know who I liked yesterday that I haven't liked ever? Jerry Jeudy.
You never liked Jerry Jeudy?
No, he's garbage.
I will say it was the first time we've seen him all year where you're like, okay, he could actually be as good as everybody said he should be. He actually lived up to the hype yesterday.
They're going to need, every time I've watched them in primetime, and in fairness, everything else I've seen from the Broncos is typically on red zone. Everything I've watched from them in primetime is that they really struggle in opponent's territory, and in particular in the red zone. Hence why they kicked 4 or 5 field goals. Was it 5 or 4? It was 4, at least 4 field goals. No, it was 5 field goals.
Will Lutz, 5 for 5.
Yeah, it was 5 field goals. You need to start converting those into points, and one of the reasons they didn't is I saw a Jerry Jeudy drop in the end zone, Bruce. He sucks. I'm sorry. Jerry Jeudy sucks. He was great yesterday, though. I love the emergence of Courtland Sutton. He's always been good.
4 for 66 and a tud for Courtland Sutton.
He's on fire right now. Courtland Sutton, anytime, I think, is hit in 3 or 4 straight weeks.
You got to talk about Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson's listen, I've been high on Russell Wilson all year, including that primetime loss that they had against, who was it? The Chiefs?
Yeah.
They
beat the Chiefs.
They beat the Chiefs at home, but they had a primetime game against the Chiefs where they lost. And I said, listen, it was a Thursday night game. I said, listen, he's not as bad as people are saying he is.
Yeah.
The Chiefs were the story there because the Chiefs weren't great. Russell Wilson's very serviceable. He's having a great year. I'm very curious. It's not going to be this
He had
year.
11 picks last year. He has 3 this year.
It's not going to be this year, but I'm very curious to see what. There's no. You haven't heard about any deception or any issues between Sean Payton and Russ like you were hearing about the first 2 or 3 months. I want to see what Russell Wilson does next year. I think they have a shot to get in this year. It's going to be tough. I think they're very much in it for a 7 seed, but I really want to see what Russell Wilson does next year.
And look how young they are.
They're young.
They have a very young team.
They made a great decision not trading Surtain, not trading Jeudy, not trading Courtland Sutton. I love their running backs. I love McLaughlin. Of course, I love Javonte
They let
Williams.
their big money
and I
free
love
agents
Russ.
walk. Frank Clark and Randy Gregory.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any less faith in Minnesota?
No, I think Minnesota should be a wild card team.
Beautiful. Let's do it.
They'll finish second in the division.
It's time for Zolo's 5 things.
Blessed.
Oh, real quick. The Lions played the Bears yesterday at Ford Field. Lions come out on top in this one, 31-26. And without further ado, Zolo's 5 things.
My 5 things are mostly bad, obviously, because that was a pretty bad performance, but there's always good to take away. And when you get a win in this league after playing as bad as they did, historically bad for this team, and then you come back and get a win to get to 8-2, you take that. So we're talking about teams maybe getting in with 8 wins in the NFC right now. The Lions are at their 8 wins with 7 to play still. Thing number 1, the defense wasn't great yesterday, but it wasn't as bad as you think it was. I know you disagree, but let me tell you why.
Whoa.
You'd
Why
be
are you pointing at me and saying I
shocked.
disagree?
I'm just assuming you're going to
You'd be
come out
shocked
firing.
when he told me before the show.
Okay, I'm excited to hear it.
Okay, you want to know what I said?
Please.
This is what I said. Were they good? Not really. But you know what? They were good when they had to be good.
Mm-hmm.
They were holding them to field goals when they could have been letting up touchdowns, and that's what kept them in the game. Was their defense getting off the field and making them kick field goals.
Thank you.
That was key of the game.
Obviously, the Bears came out and ripped a touchdown off the bat. Those are, for those that don't know, and I know a lot of you do know, for those that don't know, the beginning of any football play offensively, for the most part, is scripted. The Bears practiced those series of plays and said, this is what we're going to do when we get the ball first. This is how we're going to exploit their defense. Then after about 20 to 40 plays, the script dies down. And that's when the game really starts, and there's adjustments. That's why football is in waves. It's
Usually
cyclical.
It's 10 to 15. 10 to 15.
10 to 15, regardless. The Bears' script was perfect. They had a perfect first drive. They scored a touchdown. Guess how many touchdowns the Lions gave up the rest of the half? None. They only gave up a field goal. They did a very good job against Justin Fields yesterday. And the same happened in the second half. Their touchdown only came because they fumbled a kickoff in their own territory after the defense was repetitively on the field. The defense didn't leave the field for 8 minutes, okay? And they still had to earn the touchdown that they got. So you held Justin Fields to two touchdowns. Did Justin Fields tear them apart yesterday? Of course. Of course he did. But guess what? He tore them apart last year when they played in Chicago. Their defense, like I said on Friday's show, their defense is meant to contain Fields. It's not meant to completely shut him down. It's meant to keep him in the pocket and make him throw. It did what it needed to do yesterday. Did it give up a little more points because of the 4 turnovers? Of course. But that's the 4 turnovers. The Lions just shot themselves in the foot a lot, offensively mainly, But when you shoot yourself in the foot on offense, it leads to bad things on the defense. And that's why the defense was in very precarious positions. They were tired. They were on the field for most of the games. And then there was a bunch of other issues. Talked about it with Angie yesterday. Aiden Hutchinson and Anzalone and Derek Barnes, and especially the rookie, Jack Campbell. There are a lot of missed tackles between those guys. And if you're not greeting those running backs at the line and you're getting gashed on first down, that doesn't help. And then on top of that, when the defense was able to get off the field yesterday, there was a penalty. They forced a 3rd and long, and they make a 4th down, and then all of a sudden there was a very untimely penalty. Some were good, some were bad. As good as Brian Branch was yesterday, he had a lot of untimely penalties. If that's your yield,
one of those were
Bullshit.
was bad.
One was off.
It was horrible. It was horrible.
It was not a penalty.
Regardless, the Lions' woes yesterday came from shooting themselves in their own
It
foot.
was on 3rd down when these penalties were happening.
Which brings me to thing number 2. Goff was 2021 bad yesterday, but a lot of it is correctable.
Listen, 2 of those were tipped.
So the first one of them was tipped.
2.
The first one should have been a penalty. Sam Laporta was jammed. It was a pick play, and he was jammed. They didn't call it. And this is the problem with what Jared Goff did yesterday. He was going through his progressions, and Chicago runs, typically they run a 3-3-5. They were running a 4-2-5, but there was a lot of guys covered. That's why guys weren't open downfield. The Lions had to earn it when guys were open downfield. So things might be open quick underneath, but they weren't. So Goff would go through his progressions, and when everyone was covered, he would go to the first option and he would force the throw. That's why he wasn't able to look off the linebackers. That's why he wasn't able to look off the corners. He was forcing throws. That's simply corrected with watching some game film. I'm not worried. I'm totally anticipating Goff to come back. And like you said, one of the balls was tipped, but then 2 of them were tipped, and then he got away with 1. There should have been a pick 6 at the end of the first half.
Well, yeah,
so it could have easily been 4.
That were tipped. One,
the pick play
Laporta went the
on
wrong
Laporta.
way. And he threw the opposite way. That got that picked. And then they dropped one that should have been an interception.
Yeah. Regardless, everything was correctable with Goff. And he's proven in this era since the second half of 2022, he's never put 2 bad games in a row together, number 1. Number 2, he's proven that he's the guy that watches the tape and then he goes out and corrects it. Number 3, this is another issue I had yesterday. They abandoned the run. Uncle Sam says it all the time. David Montgomery is the engine. I still love Jahmyr Gibbs, and I think he's the better back. But David Montgomery had a revenge game yesterday, and they didn't go to him nearly enough on the 3rd and short plays. A main example that really pissed me off was I've talked about the 3rd quarter woes all year. Game script completely flips if they change one thing, in my opinion. At midfield on 3rd and 2, the first drive of the 3rd quarter where the Lions started with the ball, on 3rd and 2, they threw the ball. Why aren't you running the ball on 3rd and 2 with David Montgomery? Changed everything. They threw the ball away. They punted. The Bears marched down the field. You held them to a field goal, but then you fumbled the kickoff, and they came back and got a touchdown. It completely changed the script of the game. You can control the tempo of the game when you're leading if you're able to run the ball. Now, were they not running the ball effectively yesterday because Sorsdahl wasn't great in run pro? Maybe. Sorsdahl didn't have a great game. He got better as the game went on. But I don't want to see them abandon the run.
I thought he was good.
He got better as the game went on.
I thought he was good.
He got
I
better
thought
as
he
the
was
game went on.
actually very good, personally. But here's the thing. If Justin Fields hits that pass,
Which pass?
the 3rd down, okay, they had their 2 little off tackle plays that they ran with Khalil Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes down the field, and he missed that pass to the hell's his name? Not Moore, the other
Mooney?
guy. Huh?
Mooney?
Yeah.
That's 'cause
He
Justin Fields
just
is
threw
not
it
a
too
good
far
quarterback.
on him. They hit that pass, it's over.
Yeah, I told you.
They got him off field.
We talked about this before the game. I didn't leave. I thought things were
Yeah.
looking bleak. The reason I was telling everyone in my group chats, I'm like, I'm not worried. The Lions are the problem right now. They're not getting beat by the
I'm kind of
Bears.
shocked that the Chicago offensive coordinator would not do, because they were gashing them
He cost them the
with
game.
him running the ball.
He cost them the game. Luke Getsy.
I was kind of shocked. I was shocked and I wasn't. I thought the play call was actually pretty fucking gutsy. I thought that was a gutsy play call. They went right for the juggler.
They did what
And
the
they missed
Lions
it.
did last week against the Chargers.
Correct.
I agree with you. But it was bound to happen. Fields isn't some accurate, crazy good passer. Love what he did to DJ Moore.
They barely missed that. I mean, that was.
So
I don't know what even to say. I mean,
it goes back to what you said, though. The defense did what it needed to do when it had to do
Correct.
it. And that was an example of it.
and Aiden Hutchinson finally gets a sack when it matters.
Thing number
Loved
four.
it.
Thing number four. Effective Brian Branch, which we haven't seen since week 4 in Green Bay. Effective Brian Branch is an extremely valuable asset to this defense, especially as we're trying to bridge to this era where we're getting back to C.J. Gardner-Johnson and James Houston and the pass rushers coming on. Having Brian Branch on the field, because he can do everything. He could cover tight ends. He could cover receivers. He could blitz the quarterback. He can get sacks. He was a menace yesterday, an absolute menace, and we hadn't seen that since October. It was very good to have that back. And I'm looking for Brian Branch to keep getting better and keep progressing as the fall continues and we get into the winter and we get into crunch time, because Brian Branch is going to be a big part of this team in the future.
Brian Branch was all over the field yesterday to the point, I mean, he was literally everywhere. Wherever the ball was, he was there. And I mean,
That's what he is.
you heard his
Why he
name on
was
every
drafted where
play.
He was drafted.
He was everywhere at once yesterday. I thought he had a fabulous game.
And if that's how he looks against the most mobile quarterback in the league, and he's still sacking him and getting him in the backfield, he had 3 tackles for loss. If that's how he's going to look against the most mobile quarterback in the league, wait till you see him against quarterbacks that are not mobile, where the Lions can put him on the line, fake like he's covering someone, and you could blitz him every other play.
He's playing in the box.
He's going to do a lot of
the box.
damage going forward.
Yep.
Thing number 5, for those who are panicking, this is my one. I guess the Brian Branch one was good. But thing number 5, this team is 8-2. 8-2 for the first time since 1962. JFK
That's
was alive.
before you were born.
You were in your old
We finally
man's bag.
found something where you were in your old man's bag.
They're 8-2.
Shout out to Sal.
And there's no team. I have
Sal
people,
Senior.
I have people that
Sal's
do this
bag.
with Michigan football. I have people that do this with oh no, I don't want that win. They didn't look that good. I don't care. This makes up for Seattle. This makes up for other things. When you're 8-2, you take that any way you get it. They're not all going to be easy. They're not all going to be clean. They're not all going to be great games. When you're 8-2, you take that. Because this Lions team is 8-2, and I've never seen that in my lifetime.
19.
None of us have.
So no matter
many
what,
have.
you're going to
Including
take
him,
that.
he's a fucking
You're gonna
dinosaur.
take that any way you get it, which leads me to a bonus 6th thing.
Wow.
Whoa. What the fuck?
Never, ever count this Lions team out. Never count a Dan Campbell team out of anything. They will always fight, just like they did in year 1 when they lost, 14, 15 games. They were in most of those games. They rarely got blown out. You got to be really good to blow the Lions out. So if you're just a subpar team, or you're a decent team, or even if you're a good team, guess what? When you play the Lions, you're going to get the fight of your fucking life, no matter what. And they didn't give up. No one hung their heads on the sideline. Jared Goff wasn't down. He was a money those last 2 drives. He was perfect those last 2
He looked
drives.
like a different quarterback.
Different quarterback. Never count these Lions out. And I have the stats to go with it, historic stats. And you could translate them to the Bears choking. You could translate it to the Lions being good. Either way, I got stats for you. Number 1. Since 1932, no NFL team with a +3 turnover margin in 40 minutes in time of possession had ever lost the game. The Chicago Bears did that yesterday because the Lions didn't give up. 48-0 those teams were before yesterday, since 1932. 40 minutes of time of possession and +3 in the turnover margin. Number 2, since 1996, the Lions have turned the ball over 4+ times in a single game on 47 different occasions. They had only won 2 of those games going into yesterday. I'm sure Stafford might have pulled that off once or twice, but 3-44 now. Very historic for the Lions franchise. And the last one, since 2018, NFL teams were 164-7 when scoring at least 26 points and winning the turnover battle by at least 3. The Bears made it 164-8. That has less to do with the Bears choking away and more to do with the Lions just not giving up. They're a good team. Okay, they had a really bad game yesterday, but a lot of it was self-inflicted. I guarantee you if they play in Chicago and they don't turn the ball over 4 times and they don't have timely penalties on 3rd down, I guarantee you it's going to look like a completely different game against this same Bears team. Credit to Justin Fields. He was great yesterday. I thought the Bears' play calling was good, but the Lions wanted it more in the end, and they did what they needed to do because they're the better team. And sometimes it just comes down to the last 6 minutes of the 4th quarter. Well, guess what? That was one of those games yesterday, and they pulled it out. And I would not bet against this Lions team against a lot of teams in the league. Maybe 30 teams in the league, I'm not betting against the Lions.
Amen. That was all those 5 things.
I have some numbers.
What?
We both went 7-12.
Who's you? Who's we?
You and I.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're on our
7
picks.
On our picks.
Holy shit, he's finally done it. It only took 11 weeks.
I actually do it every week, but I just don't.
You just don't speak up.
7 and
Fucking
12?
dunce. So
Well, for the Sunday slate, there's 12.
there wasn't 19 fucking games.
Yeah, it's not possible. There can never
So
be
we
more
were,
than 6.
if we won 7, we were 7-5.
Well, 7 out of 12.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Got it. That makes more
so
sense.
we were 7-5.
Makes more
Yes.
sense.
Yes.
Okay.
They had 9. So depending.
They went 9-3.
It would have been 9 and 3.
9-3.
There's 12 games.
Wow.
Well, we also have tonight's game, and I don't know the Thursdays. Who picked what for Thursday?
Thursday was, who played Thursday? Oh, that was the, was that the death game?
No,
that
you
was
and I,
Bengals Ravens.
you and I picked
Yeah.
the Ravens. Oh no, you and I picked the Ravens.
I picked Cincinnati.
And you picked Cincinnati.
So I'm even deeper in the
Actually,
hole.
I
I don't write those
Cincinnati.
down.
But you took Cincinnati.
I did.
You and I took the Ravens.
Then you two took
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Ravens, yeah. And we both took
All right, so
Cincinnati.
then I have 8.
Real quick from this game, David Montgomery had the game-winning touchdown on the ground, as well as 76 yards rushing. Jahmyr Gibbs was 8 for 36 and a touchdown on the ground. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8 for 77 and a touchdown through the air. Jameson Williams also had a 32-yard touchdown reception in this game. Fields was
When they needed it.
Fields had 169 and a touchdown through the air and 104 on the ground. Donta Foreman had 14 yards on the ground and a touchdown. DJ Moore, 7 for 96 and a touchdown through the air. Lions, beautifully done game. Right at the end. It was 3 quarters of shit, followed by 1 beautiful quarter.
Can we talk about J-Mo for a second?
4 minutes of
4 minutes of good football.
I'm happy you said J-Mo. He got a 65% snap share. It's the highest of his career. They're trusting him more. Of course, the catches didn't come as crazy yesterday. And
He's
you
only
were
targeted
there.
3 times.
You were there. He was looking at, again, when I was talking about how he was going through his progressions, he was looking for J-Mo downfield. They had him covered a lot of the
Yes,
time.
he was. Yep.
So J-Mo's on the field. He's doing everything
And
well.
I
They
don't
love
think
what he's
anybody's
doing.
giving Chicago's defensive line a little credit, man. They were putting a little fucking heat on him,
Yes,
man.
they did. Yes,
They put a lot of heat on. I was actually shocked that their line was playing as good as they were. I'm talking about Chicago's defensive line.
Was this
they played
Montez
pretty
Sweat's-
fucking well.
This was his first game, right? Montez
No.
Sweat?
Yeah.
Played
one?
No, he played against New Orleans.
Played against New Orleans.
Yeah.
Oh, he did play against New Orleans?
Yeah.
I didn't think he did.
Yeah, he did.
He looked good. He looked
He
good.
did.
He
All
was
right.
giving Decker everything he could handle.
Are we good here?
Yes.
Now we have to talk. I mean,
We're going to burn the tape.
we have been on air for 105 minutes, and now we are ready to talk about the biggest game of the week, a Super Bowl rematch, possibly a Super Bowl preview, what could be the biggest game of the regular season. The Philadelphia Eagles are heading to Arrowhead tonight to play the Chiefs. Kansas City is a 2.5-point favorite. The over-under is 46. We all picked this on Friday, but we might as well do it again. I'm going Kansas City, and I'm going the over in this game.
Wait, hold on. Taylor Swift is not going to be there.
Taylor Swift is in fucking South America. But can I actually share an update that we got from the pregame before you guys make your picks? Travis Kelce, when speaking about his future prior to tonight's game, said that retirement is on his mind more than anyone could ever imagine.
Goodbye.
That's the only thing I've never really been open about is the discomfort, the pain, all the lingering injuries, the 10 surgeries that I've had, and I still feel every single surgery every day. So,
He just ain't Gronk.
Could this? Well, no, it's the same thing that happened to Gronk.
Was that part of that? Was that part of
Gronk
that?
was bionic.
The article in
beg to
Wall Street
differ.
Journal. Was
Yes.
it the Wall Street Journal article?
This was part of the Wall
The
Street
Wall
Journal.
Street Journal article is a very long read, but I read quotes here and there, and it's very good. It's just on Travis Kelce. It came out today.
I beg to differ.
What?
Travis Kelce was not a fucking body bag like Rob Gronkowski.
No, but
that man took that man. I watched him
bionic.
twist his knees 5 or 6 times in games. I saw him miss fucking seasons with knee injuries. Travis Kelce has never had that until fucking this year.
Yes, but I think Kelsey's at that point in his career.
Whatever. He's a pussy. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyways,
What?
do you want to make a pick for this?
Travis
or-
Yeah, I'm
Kelce
taking
is
Philadelphia and the over.
Why?
Why? Because I just think they're more complete than Kansas City. Kansas City is not a complete team.
I'm going to take Kansas City for one reason and one reason only.
Pat Mahomes.
I think Pat Mahomes matches up well against this Philadelphia defense. This is not the same Philadelphia defense we saw last year.
It's nowhere near as good.
It isn't. It just isn't. And at the end of the day, if there's anybody who could scheme for Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, I'm going to give it to Andy Reid, and I think they stifle that offense a little bit tonight. And I think the Chiefs win a close game with a good amount of scoring.
I think it's going to be surprisingly high scoring tonight.
I think so.
Considering how low scoring Chiefs games have been, I think it's just going to be a fired up crowd at Arrowhead.
I think it's a lot
A.J.
of
Brown
points.
is a fucking monster.
There's the Chiefs haven't played in a while. The Chiefs have not played in 2 weeks, if my math is correct. Do they go back to Germany?
They were in the Euro game.
Yeah, so they go back to Germany, and I just don't love it goes back to me not loving anything I've seen out of the Eagles this year. They played good in their one big game against the Dolphins. I think their best football is in front of them. I still think they have the most talented roster in the league. The Chiefs' defense, you said the Eagles' defense isn't what it was last year. The Chiefs' defense is significantly better than it was last year. They're winning games because of their defense. So, same drill. I think the Chiefs are going to come out
I still
early.
think they're missing guys like Bolton, and Bolton is the heart and soul of that defense.
It hasn't affected them, though.
It's gonna.
It hasn't affected them. And Bolton he's been on and off the entire year. Most of their
that
wins came
Chiefs
without
secondary,
Bolton.
what they try to do is jump routes early. That's what they try to do. If you watch those guys, they're going to bring their safeties up to the line of scrimmage, and they're going to force Jalen Hurts to throw the football.
This is going to be a big Jalen Hurts running game. I think he's going to be scrambling out of the pocket a lot. I think you're going to see Chris Jones having him move all over the place. I think you're going to see Karlaftis having him move all over the place. And I'm looking for. I'm excited for this one, even though I'm not really focused on it.
Nick Bolton is active tonight.
Yes.
Yep.
Thought he was out.
He will be playing.
Huh.
Bruce?
I'm going to go KC, but I'm going to go the under.
He's going KC in the under. So, who did you took the Eagles?
scoring.
Who'd you take?
Oh, I have the Chiefs.
You took Chiefs.
I have the Chiefs. Chiefs in the over. Chiefs to cover. Chiefs to win. Chiefs over.
Here we go. Get ready. We're about an hour and a half away from this game. Listen, if you care at all about football, this is a game that you must go and watch tonight. It should be an absolutely incredible night of football, watching a Super Bowl rematch from last year. So I'm already excited to come back here Wednesday and talk about this game. 100%. Before we close it out, do you have anything to add?
No.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I am going to take an anytime touchdown scorer tonight. My anytime touchdown scorer is Isaiah Pacheco.
I knew that was coming.
I think Pacheco has a very nice night.
I have one also.
AJ Brown. That one's obvious.
Kenneth Gainwell.
You better
I'll do you
pray
one
Kenneth
better.
Gainwell has the
DeAndre
career
Swift.
game of his life.
What? It's a Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah, but
who would think Kenneth Gainwell? Nobody.
And
Kenneth
I'm going with
Gainwell.
Swift because Swift's probably going to be the one that's going to carry it into the end zone.
Maybe. Just maybe. Zolo, anything to add?
Yeah, my prop. All right. My prop for tonight is something that Andy Reid does is he keys in. He runs a similar defense to Belichick, and they like to take away what teams do well. And the thing that the Eagles do well, in my opinion, the easiest way to stop the Eagles is you just shut down A.J. Brown. And I think that the Chiefs are going to do a very good job shutting down A.J. Brown tonight, which will lead to a big game from Devontae Smith. I'm going to go Devontae Smith over 7 receptions tonight.
I'm going to go Pacheco over 58 yards and a Pacheco anytime touchdown.
Why do you hate Isaiah Pacheco?
I don't.
Oh,
I don't. I tried to actually trade for him.
didn't you say you hated him? All right,
No, I tried to actually trade.
No, he just hated everybody else. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. Make sure to follow our socials, Instagram and Twitter, at Tip Balls, TikTok, at Tip Balls Podcast. Go ahead.
I didn't say anything.
You lined up like you were going to say something else.
I'm not saying anything, dude. Listening to you.
If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music, make sure to follow us on YouTube. Click subscribe. Ring the bell so you get reminders of when we go live. Thank you guys so much for listening. Enjoy tonight's game, and you will hear from us again on Wednesday.